Hey y'all, it's spooky season, and you know what that means? That means all the artists are coming together to do their favorite Somethingtober art challenges, and we, in the military community, have our own, Miltober. So what is Miltober? Well, Miltober was started by this one Twitter user, Jaded. Please go check them out. And we are just given a series of prompts that are military related, and we get to do anything with them. And there have been some pretty cool ones in the past. And this year, since I am committing myself to doing at least one drawing a day, well, one 30-minute drawing a day, Miltober was a perfect excuse to fill up the entirety of my October. And I have 2 weeks worth of drawings that I want to get over and kind of, give my own personal thoughts on. So let's get straight into it. Day one's prompt was drone, and I used this prompt to create another OC in my list of like 100 different OCs I've created now. And I'm pretty pleased with how this piece turned out. I do like how the pose, I'm usually not that great at kneeling down poses, especially with the legs and the curves, but I'm happy how that turned out. Thank you for the reference photo that I was using. And yeah, I think the main thing I would want to improve on is just adding a bit more details and also making the drone a little bit more fleshed out. I think I did rush a little bit on that. But overall, I would give this personally a 8 out of 10. Day 2's prompt was security, and this one I'm definitely less satisfied with as I was with day 1's prompt. I think mainly just, even though I really did enjoy the fact that I did draw 2 of my OCs in there, Lila and Yukino, just some of the details about the drawing, and also given the amount of time that I spent on it, which was like around a little over 4 hours. Yeah, no, I don't think it was like really worth the amount of time that I put in. So that's why I think I'll probably rate it at around a 5 out of 10. Day 3 was machine gun, and this one I actually originally had something else planned for, but then I decided to scrap it because I wasn't really feeling going that direction. And in the end, what took me about 1 hour 40 minutes came out to be something that I'm actually pretty satisfied with. And definitely I was inspired by the French battle cry, "They shall not pass," so that's why it kind of has like, I guess, sort of a World War I vibe. And even though like it is a pretty messy drawing, like I think there's a lot of my messy drawings that actually turn out to be like drawings that I really like compared to ones that have like way cleaner lines. So I think this one I'll definitely probably rate it at around a 7 out of 10. Day 4 was Scout, and this one is a little bit special to me because I kind of got my start with actually trying to be good at drawing with drawing vehicles, and this one in particular is based off of a original vehicle design drawing that I did around 2 years ago, and just kind of coming back to that design and revamping it a little bit and just making it look better and more detailed. I think I honestly am pretty happy with how I did that, and just kind of also like the different perspective, making it look a bit more dynamic than just flat. It just looks really good to me. So definitely I think I'd be giving this a 9 out of 10. Day 5 was Insurgent, and going into this prompt, I conceptually had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do. I definitely did want to include a reference to this reference photo of the Troubles that I think is one of the best wartime photos of all time. And I think in the end, the idea was there, but just wasn't executed that well. I think there is a lot of details that I could have added, but given the amount of time that I was running into, I think I was like running into like already like 4 hours long doing this photo or doing this drawing. I was like, yeah, no, I need to cut back because, hey, I have other life obligations I need to do. So yeah, overall, conceptually, I did like what I was trying to do, but I think in the end, it just kind of faltered in terms of actual execution, and it just kind of ran a little bit over time. So with that, I think I'm probably going to have to give this a 6 out of 10. Day 6 was Hussar, and I wanted to use this as a way to also do a uniform reference for a Hussar unit for one of my original nations, the Kingdom of Calcit. However, unfortunately, this drawing was also scheduled on the day that I was set to drive back home. So I unfortunately was not able to finish it. It's still a work in progress. However, with what I have finished currently, I'm pretty happy with how it is going. I think there's definitely a lot of potential for it. I think there are a few details that I think just need to be cleaned up or weren't worked out fully. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with how it's currently going. And also, if you do look at the outline as well, there's meant to be kind of a horse in the background, and also, I guess, like a evolution of the uniform as well to the right side. So yeah, I think if I were to have to grade it right now, best it can do is maybe like a 4 out of 10, just because it's still unfinished. So I don't know how it's going to look in the end, whether it's going to look absolutely gorgeous or, not great. But yeah, for now, I'm still pretty pleased with how it is looking at the moment. Day 7 was Marine, and I used this as another excuse to do another uniform for another original country, Polski. With the Polski Marine, I'm actually pretty happy on the surface with how this looked. It's just the amount of time that it took for me to do this, which was around 5 hours, is kind of for me, because I personally feel like one of my biggest pet peeves is that I take way too long on a lot of my artworks, and in the end I just don't feel pleased with how long it takes for an artwork given the amount of I guess quality that it has. So yeah, this one I'm still really happy with some of the details, especially say the gun in her hand. This was kind of my first sort of going back to it, actually drawing a 2D gun or a side view gun in ages. So I'm pretty pleased with the amount of detail that it has. It's just the overall thing for 5 hours, not too pleased on that. So I think I would probably rate this at a 7 out of 10. Day 8 starts us off with Shield. Now, when I was first thinking about what I wanted to do, I was kind of envisioning something maybe sort of from a badass Franka and Liskarm fan art from Arknights, where you would have bullets deflecting off of Franka's or Liskarm's shield and whatnot. But in the end, I kind of went with the idea that a shield protects people, and wanted to do something that was a bit more I guess fluffy. So that's when I got the idea to have a shield bearer kind of protecting a little kid under the shield from the rain. So I think metaphorically this actually worked out really well, and I'm super satisfied with how the art itself and also just kind of the entire concept turned out. So definitely I think I would give this an 8 out of 10. Day 9 was Reporter, and this one, despite its simplicity, I really like for the concept behind it. When I was first thinking about how to do this, I was having trouble kind of thinking about how to represent Reporter in a military sense. And then I started thinking about it about how reporters are also soldiers as well. They're fighting for the truth. They're trying to they're risking their lives for information on the battlefield. And when I started doing this, I thought of different things, such as the scar over his eye, and also especially the cut off thumb, which I included kind of the lore blurb in my tweet on this, on what's kind of the backstory behind it. That's it just added on more and more depth and kind of how cool the concept was as I continued doing the drawing. So yeah, no, even though that this one looks pretty simple, just kind of the specific details and also sort of the backstory behind them, I think definitely puts this up to an 8 out of 10 for me. Day 10 was Survivor, and this prompt was one of the super open-ended prompts. There were a bunch of ideas that I had in my mind just on what I wanted to do or what I could have done, and I did actually originally start on a different drawing based off of a reference artwork that I found off of Damboru, but in the end I decided to go with a different one featuring one of my earliest, or actually my first original character, Spike, and this one was kind of building off of one of her like stories in like during her actual like active military service, with her somehow getting a piece of rebar just impaling her, and the story's not really figured out, but like I did want to somewhat have sort of like a visual, so then like when I do actually return back to sort of like fleshing out the backstory behind the rebar story, then like I can have like something I can visually reference, like, okay, this is sort of like, you know, what happens, then I can like build off the story from there. So I think the drawing itself is, you know, pretty good. I've definitely have kind of been like finicking around with blood has kind of been like one of those things where it's like hit or miss for me, just because I only do like mono shading. Like I don't really do like gradient shading. That's not really my thing yet. So yeah, no, I think overall still it actually did turn out like pretty well. And yeah, I think I give this one maybe a 7 out of 10. Day's 11 prompt, Missile, has a little bit of a backstory to it, because I actually originally conceived of the concept for this a couple of months back when I made these two missile designs for Polsky that were both grid fin missiles. And I was like, you know what? If these missiles were turned into like Adamonica style waifus, they'd probably be wearing fishnets, right? Because of their grid fins. And Lord and behold, Day 11 for Miltober, Missile, perfect way and perfect excuse for me to actually do this. So that's what I did, and I definitely did do it in an Adamonica style, and I'm just super happy with how it turned out. The missile itself looks like really detailed. I'm happy with those details. And then the character, I originally was a little bit iffy with the character like right after I drew her, but then like after looking at her for a little while, like I've definitely warmed up to her more. And I think the biggest issue with this piece is like her fishnets. I absolutely like choked on the fishnets. Like I just did a bad job on them. I should have done better, but you know what? Next time that I do draw her, I'll definitely make sure that the fishnets look way better, just because like that's kind of like her defining character feature. So yeah, but I also did do a graphic design of this art piece as well, of course in the style of Adamonica, and I guess this is just kind of sort of like, you know, letter of appreciation, I suppose, to Adamonica, just because I am a fan of their artwork and I just really like what they do. So yeah, Day 11, Missile, I think I'd probably give this a 9 out of 10. Day 12 was Snow, and for this one, I honestly don't really have that much to say about it. Like, the artwork itself, I think, like, you know, it looks fine, and like I do like some of the details I did have. Like the snow was actually really fun to like, you know, try and put on the character and also the sniper rifle in the background as well, and trying to figure out like, yo, how do I like make the snow actually like look somewhat good and also like kind of behave somewhat properly. And there's also like just a few little details such as like the open trigger guard for like winter gloves. But just because like this one doesn't really have, I guess, like any like kind of background lore, I guess, other than like tying into like one of my original countries, but like there wasn't just that much like attachment to like emotional attachment to it, I guess. This one, like, it's not the same as like any of the other art pieces, but in terms of like the drawing quality itself, I'm actually still pretty pleased with it. So I think it'll at least deserve like a 7 out of 10. Day 13's prompt was Airborne, and this one also is a little bit similar to Day 4's prompt 4 in that it's special to me in the sense that it's a bit of a throwback to one of my original artworks. The original artwork for this was a OC character design reference sheet for my OC Angel, and like looking back on that one, I'm like, yeah, no, like that one was pretty good for like the skill level that I was at 2 years ago. But you know what? Let's make it better and just look cooler, and make it look better and cooler and just more badass. I personally feel like in this one, I really like how this one turned out. Not only is there the value of like, yo, I made something that I already loved look better. So there's that, but also just some of the details on there, such as like, the slung rucksack at her front, as well as like the collapsible stretcher, her weapon case in the back, and also like the helmet, including the cat ears. Yeah, they just look really good. Like, I'm just super happy with how this one turned out. And also the pose does not look that bad as well. I'm usually not that great at dynamic poses, but this one, like, I'm actually pretty pleased with how it turned out. And given the idea, or given the fact that this is kind of like a remaster of this, yeah, like, I'm just super happy with how this turned out. Definitely goes up with Scout as well, being kind of like my favorite artwork that I've done in Miltober. So that's why this one deserves the 9 out of 10. And finally, closing out week 2 of Miltober is prompt 14, Misfire. Misfire, this one I kind of wanted to take it easy on, just because like I had the mad sprint to get prompt 13 Airborne done before I went home, and also when I went home I was just kind of exhausted, so I just wanted to have an easy one to kind of chill and take some time to recuperate. And with Misfire, I heavily was influenced and also referenced off of this one old Twitter artwork that I remembered, and I'll put the original artist of the original, or the artwork that I referenced, somewhere on the screen. But yeah, definitely heavily referenced off of that photo, just because the pose that I wanted to do, like, I just never really done before, and also especially the perspective of the gun as well. That was something that I had like basically no practice on whatsoever, so definitely needed to use that reference a lot. But also incorporating some of my own aspects, such as like the OC Katusha. I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out, but definitely I would not say it's like has the same impact as prompt 13 Airborne did. So I think this one I would probably give a 7 out of 10. And those are my week 1 and 2 Miltober 2023 drawings, all compiled into this video, along with some of my commentary on them. Just kind of looking back, picking favorites. Definitely in week 1, day 4, military vehicles. Just drawing military vehicles like hits differently for me. Like, drawing people is one thing, but drawing military vehicles, like, I just feel like that's truly where like my jam lies, and I really enjoyed how that one turned out for me. So definitely day 4's prompt Scout goes up to the top. And then in week 2, which was honestly where more of like my favorite prompts lay in, day 11's Missile. Not only was that just super fun to draw, and also the concept was just great, it also is like kind of my homage to one of my favorite artists, Anna Monica. So there's that. And then finally, day 13's prompt, Airborne. Again, this one is special to me, not just because it looks good or I'm like really satisfied with like how the artwork turned out, but also just kind of the value behind it in terms of what it means for me. Redoing a OC character design reference that I already thought was like, one of my favorites, and just making it look better certainly was like just super fun to do. And I just really enjoyed looking at the day 13's artwork for Angel. So there you have it. Super happy with day 4, day 11, and also day 13. Those are my favorites. Anyways, I will be doing another commentary video for after week 3. Hopefully I can survive that. Fingers crossed, we'll see. And thank you y'all for watching, and until next time, see ya.